It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Time for your weekly cup of coffee from Slumberland at the lake. And Uncle and Chris and I got a good one this week. Hey, Osage Nation Casino.
Big news here, big news.
We'll tell you about what that means. Major drug bust in Camden County, plus high school football. Some local teams advance, and we got some cool local events and stuff. We'll tell you about that and a whole lot more. But first, this from Slumberland at the lake.
Hey everybody, it's Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We're starting our Black Friday sale. I know it's early, but the deals are so good we couldn't wait. You need to come check them all out. We've got deals for every room of the house, and we're doing 0% interest financing for up to 36 months. And if you're gonna do a Tempur-Pedic or Stearns & Foster, we're gonna extend that to 72 months. Don't forget, we deliver the entire lake area, so come check it all out at Slumberland Furniture. We're bringing happy home.
The lake has it all, even this time of year. Some incredible events.
The scenic outdoors, there's so much to see.
But listen, there have been an average of 6 fatal crashes in Missouri per month from distracted driving this year.
That's where you come in. Always remember to buckle up and put your phones down. Your eyes belong on the road. This reminder to drive safe, boat safe, brought to you by Price & Randall Injury Attorneys.
Yeah, remember, drive safe, boat safe, and as we get ready for this week's show, we're still kind of in comatose state from all the trick-or-treating candy over Friday's Halloween. Did you get out and trick-or-treat this year?
I did not, but we did get out. We went to Chances Are, had a great dinner that night. I saw your dad, had a wonderful time, but we kind of run from the house, or we just turn all the lights off, but we never get any kids where we are anyway.
So you're one of those kind of people that on Halloween lights go off, no treats, huh?
None whatsoever. I'm the kind of guy that used to steal treats from my kids, right?
Yeah.
You know, one for you, two for me kind of a thing. That's the way to go right there.
Hey, well, on Friday, the Halloween trick-or-treating and fall festivals weren't the only exciting things taking place, as Lake Expo dropped a bombshell of an article in regards to, hey, the city of Lake Ozark is finalizing or going to vote on something in regards to the Osage Nation Casino. So it looks like, hey, this thing is going to happen, right? Well, not so fast. We'll start with the article that came out with Lake Expo.
Okay, so it says the City of Lake Ozark Board of Aldermen will gather for a special meeting to consider approving an agreement with the Osage Nation as the Indian tribe moves closer toward constructing a hotel casino in the city. Now remember, there's two different entities trying to bring a casino to town. There's the Indian Nation, the Osage Nation, and then there's a Missouri...
The Osage Gaming private casino project.
Right, so they're two separate things, and this is the Indian Nation. So the Osage purchased a large property in Lake Ozark. It's across from Menards over there off of Osage Beach Parkway, and they've been going through the process to build this hotel casino, and since they're their own nation, the Indian Nation, they have to go through the U.S. government, kind of get things worked out that way. And they are apparently making some headway. So the proposed agreement with Lake Ozark looks like this, right? According to the text of the agreement, the Osage Nation would pay 2.5% of the casino's adjusted gross receipts every quarter, and the adjusted gross receipt is defined as a total receipt minus winnings paid to the gamblers, okay?
Worth noting, too.
That makes sense.
That's big because other casinos in Missouri pay out 2.1 with the municipalities.
Okay, so Lake Ozark would be actually getting a better deal there. Additionally, the Osage Nation would pay 1% resort fee on hotel room transactions. The nation would also agree to pay $100,000 per year to the Lake Ozark Police Department in exchange for receiving law enforcement services 24/7, substantially similar to services provided to other businesses, apparently. Now, and again, non-tribal casinos would pay, as other businesses in the city pay, a sales tax of about 9.5% on rooms and a much higher tax on adjusted gross receipts for the gaming. But most of that revenue doesn't go to the city. It goes to like the state and other entities. So actually this deal, according to Harrison Fry, would be better for Lake Ozark than a lot of the other deals would be.
Right, and so people hear this, they're like, wait, so is the city of Lake Ozark like voting this thing is through? Well, not so fast, and we'll start with, as you alluded to, right, hey, didn't the people of Missouri already vote against this? No, as you said, that was the Osage Gaming private casino project to amend the Missouri Constitution, which was voted down in November. The Osage Nation Lake Ozark Casino project, as you said, is the Osage Nation Indian tribe that has been working to bring this casino. And so the city of Lake Ozark have been working on this for months. Mayor Ridgely, City Administrator Fry, and Attorney Chris Rohr. And when it's an important question is like, does the Osage Nation need the city of Lake Ozark support? Do they need these agreements in place in order to build their casino? And the answer is no. They could actually get clearance and build and operate 100% without any approval or communication or commitment from the city of Lake Ozark. The city realizes this and is working to get the best deal for the city, not if, but when the Osage Nation Casino project comes to fruition. In my opinion, this is incredibly diligent, and it will ensure that the city of Lake Ozark is protected and gains drastically from this project. Again, not if, but when it comes to fruition. Dan Geyer's post on Facebook was very accurate. I substantiated that information with the city of Lake Ozark, and this guy is always spot on. Dan Geyer's post will show you there. And the city of Lake Ozark has been so diligent. Not only do they have their own city attorney, Chris Rohr, right, but they also went out and hired an outside attorney to help with the process and putting the paperwork together. This is Christine Swanick, who works out of New York, and she specializes in legal agreements between federal government, municipalities, and sovereign Indian nations, which is, to me, a great move. It looks like this special meeting is only for the city of Lake Ozark to approve these two ordinances and agreements, which took place Tuesday, November 4th, the day we recorded. I'm in attendance, but I don't know what happened, so I will tell you guys, of course, next week on that. You'll see it with Lake Expo as well. But they're going to vote on these two ordinances, Chris. Okay. 2025-48, which is an ordinance approving an agreement for infrastructure improvements with the Osage Nation. It'll be its first reading. Ordinance number 2025-49 is an ordinance approving an agreement for municipal services with the Osage Nation, also the first reading. Now, I anticipate the board would vote yes on this. However, that's not 100%, and you were giving some of those bullet points in regards to when this comes to fruition. This is what these agreements are marrying the city of Lake Ozark and the Osage Nation Casino project to. And some of those early projections, you said 2.5% of that gambling gross less winnings. Currently, the city of Lake Ozark's fiscal year, they're budgeting $5.6 million in total sales tax collection budgeted for the whole year, which would be a 29% increase from 2025 when this came to fruition. They'd give $65,000 roughly of that 1% of hotel revenue based on the projection shared with the Osage Nation or from the Osage Nation. Of course, you alluded to the $100,000 to the Lake Ozark Police Department annually. And here's what's big. A couple of things, like the Osage Nation could come in and build their own sewer, their own things of that nature, their own water. They could do all of those things. And they're actually agreeing to use water with the city of Lake Ozark, and it would equate to about $98,700, which is about 13% currently of what the city brings in from water. And it's projected to use about $50,000 in sewer, which is 7,000% currently of what the city of Lake Ozark budgets to generate revenue from the sewage use. So those are drastic increases. And they also got them agree to, hey, no gas station or convenience store on the property, protecting their interest. And another important thing is, if you look at the report put out by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the report they did, we reported on that back in July of this year. What they found about this particular site, this particular project, is this would create about 425 total jobs. And I've seen people say on Facebook, well, that's all going to be like internal, that's all going to be their own people. Well, actually, they're projecting only about 120 positions to be filled internally, which would leave about 300 plus fully operational or fully high-paying jobs for locals in the area. And so That's pretty big. And with or without an approval on vote, you're probably wondering what would be next for this particular project, right? Well, the federal government, Bureau of Indian Affairs, has to approve the ground going to a trust. This has not happened yet. The office with the Bureau of Indian Affairs would have to approve that, but that person who would make that decision and seize those applications, well, that role has been vacant. Now that it's been filled recently, they're not doing those things because, as we know, the federal government has been shut down since October 1st. So once the government is reopened, the next step would be for that role, that person with the Federal Bureau of Indian Affairs, to start sifting through. I don't know how many applications will be on that desk or how many people will be waiting, but that will have to be approved. And if it is approved, then it would be on the governor's office, not anybody with the federal government, but Governor Kehoe's office would have to approve that land going into a trust. And if that happens, that would automatically qualify them for Class II gaming, which is essentially slot machines like a normal gambler sees at a casino. And so as far as timeline, hard to say. When the government reopens, that could be a 3-month process. That could be a 3-year process, maybe longer, for that land to get approved to go into a trust. And so once that happens, assuming the governor's office approves that, it would be 3 years for them to be fully up and operational. And so we're still looking at anywhere from 3 to 6 years for the Osage Nation Casino project to be fully up and operational, although it could happen quicker, and there could be a possibility, Chris, that let's say those steps get cleared, and as they start the 3-year build, I wouldn't be surprised to see them put up something small where they can start having people come in and gamble and enjoy the property while they're building the overall project. But that looks like the timeline I was able to find out. And so this is not the city of Lake Ozark saying, hey, we're voting on yes, we want the casino, we're bringing it. Inevitably, they don't need the city of Lake Ozark, that being the Osage Nation Casino project, to happen here. The city's being diligent and says, we think it's going to happen, and we want to make sure that our police, our roads, our city, our sewer, our water, our economic development are protected. And so this deal put in place had a lot of support by people who are very familiar with this kind of thing on Facebook. And it looks to me like the city of Lake Ozark is being very diligent here.
Yeah, it seems to me that they know that they could get left out in the cold with this deal if they don't jump in and make a deal now, which it seems like they're doing, and it looks like a pretty good deal. By the way, back in August of this year, the Osage Nation announced its basic plan for the casino resort. That includes a 40,000 square foot gaming floor that you talked about with the slot machines, 150 room hotel tower, 150 rooms, food and beverage areas, meeting rooms, fitness center and pool, and 435 parking spaces. That's basically what that campus would entail.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal, and these are big steps. We'll keep you guys posted. Of course, we'll find out the vote, and regardless of how the vote goes, that doesn't mean that there will or won't be the casino. Again, that's irrelevant in regards to whether the casino happens. The casino is going to happen with or without cooperation and approval from the city of Lake Ozark. And I also hear like there's other tax receiving entities that are in communication with Osage Nation as far as working out their own gifts, their own pilots, which is payments in lieu of taxes, which are common with Indian projects and developments, casinos, things of that nature. But this seems to be good. The city's protected. And if this does happen, when it happens, the city is going to be drastically increasing their general revenue for the year. And they're going to be in a position to continue to expand roads, the police department. So whether or not you like casinos, that's not really the argument. We can't do anything about that. We can certainly say we're glad that the city of Lake Ozark would be benefiting at this level when it happens.
They're trying to take care of themselves in this, which is smart. And I made a prediction a few months ago where I said, I think in the next 10 years, both of these casinos are going to come in. The Indian Casino and then the Osage River Gaming facility that got voted down in the last election. I think in the next 10 years, both of those casinos in some way, shape, or form are going to come to the Lake of the Ozarks. And I talked to a very high-ranking official in the area, and he agreed with me on that. He thinks that's going to happen too.
Yeah, I agree. I have no indication from anyone I've talked to that the private casino, the Osage River Gaming, which was with Bally Sports, Gary Pruitt and his partners, is dead just because the vote wasn't passed to amend the Missouri Constitution. Of course, a lot to be determined there. So, hey, next local headline. This was big for Camden County. Major drug bust in Camden County, including 620 fentanyl capsules.
This is kind of scary. Law enforcement discovered over 620 fentanyl capsules during the search warrant in Camden County, Tuesday, October 28th. Members of the Mid-Missouri Drug Task Force and Camden County Sheriff's Office conducting the narcotics search warranted at a residence in Camden County. Jill Perry is the homeowner, and Thomas Shoemaker were detained on the scene. Shoemaker had 13.5 grams of methamphetamine and 5 oxycodone and acetaminophen pills in his pockets. Law enforcement searched Perry's purse and discovered 222 capsules containing white powder, right? Whatever that might be. And according to court documents, law enforcement seized a total of 624 fentanyl capsules, 106 controlled prescription narcotics of 5 different kinds, approximately 49 grams of methamphetamine. They also discovered numerous digital scales, new and used baggies, pipes, containers, and needles. So this was a huge and very scary drug bust. I mean, all that fentanyl could kill everybody in this area.
Easily, and I was interested to find out. I reached out to Camden County Sheriff Chris Edgar and talked with Colonel Scott Hines, who's the chief deputy, and I asked, is this the largest fentanyl bust ever in Camden County? And he said he couldn't confirm that, but this is absolutely the largest fentanyl seizure in recent memory. And I said, how many potential deaths were prevented potentially by this bust? And he said, that's hard to nail down, but with 624 capsules, they can contain anywhere from 200 to 1,000 milligrams each.
Yeah.
As little as 2 milligrams can be fatal. So each pill could have been a death prevented. 624, pretty amazing number. Good work by the Camden County Sheriff's Department getting 625 fentanyl pills off the street. Very dangerous. And it looks like fentanyl and methamphetamine continue to be a major concern. And anyone who wants to learn more about fentanyl abuse can find really good information at the National Institute of Health's website, which we'll put up there for you on our screen. But interesting, that was a massive number, and I was just curious, like, street value of all of this.
Yeah.
And there's so many variables I found out, but anywhere from $1 to $5 per pill on those fentanyl pills. So this is a fairly affordable drug that people are able to get their hands on regardless of financial situation, and they probably bank on that, right? The most dangerous drug being very affordable. So pretty crazy. Again, good work by the Camden County Sheriff's Department getting that off of our Lake of the Ozark streets.
We saw something a couple of weeks ago. Fox News did this story on something called the Heroin Highway, which goes from Mexico up to Chicago. And part of that highway is Highway 54 going right through our area, which apparently there is a lot of major drug trafficking used over that corridor. I did not know that before. It's pretty spooky.
Yeah, another reminder, our local law enforcement agencies are up against so much more than just the big headlines, right? And the big stories and the controversial topics and things of that nature. Like, they've got real pressing issues they are facing every day, and some of that has nothing to do with the people living here year-round. It's the streets in our communities, as you alluded to. So, and speaking of that, pretty cool, got this press release from the Sunrise Beach Police Department that, hey, the Sunrise Beach Police, they install Missouri's first drug destruction kiosk.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of this before, right? So it says they're proud to announce the installation of this kiosk, marking a major step forward in local efforts to combat prescription drug misuse. The kiosk, now located in the lobby of the Sunrise Beach Police Department, provides residents with a safe, simple, and secure way to dispose of and destroy expired or unused prescription drugs. I mean, it's funny, you don't think about that until you have those a bunch of those, little bottles with like painkillers or something you decided not to take after a surgery or something. What do you do with them? Well, you don't want to just go throw them away because that can be very dangerous. You don't want to throw them in the water or flush them down the toilet because, again, that can be very dangerous. So there's a way to get rid of them.
Yeah, really cool. And you see the photo here on screen. That is with Police Chief Scott Craig with Sunrise Beach, and they continue to make headlines, with some of the stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
And so good work by Chief Scott Craig. They continue to be proactive in moving that department forward. All right, next headline. Groundbreaking for the city of Osage Beach with a big trail system with Magic Dragon trails. Pretty cool stuff here, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. So the new Hatchery Ridge Trail. So the groundbreaking is going to be this month at the Osage Beach City Park. So the 2-mile trail is going to wind through both the city park and the Lake of the Ozarks State Park, right? 2 miles of this trail. A partnership between the city, state park, and Magic Dragon Trails made all of this happen. The trail's been marked already, and the work is underway right now. The city hopes it will complete this whole thing, and the trail will be open, ready to go this spring as volunteers work over the winter months to try to get this ready to go. How about, this is pretty cool, pretty exciting, right?
Yeah, and listen, join us. We're going to be out there Thursday, November 14th at 10 a.m. at the Osage Beach City Park. Stacy Pirtle and Jan Pirtle, they lead Magic Dragon Trails, and we got this, of course, from the city of Osage Beach. And Eric Gregory said this is going to be a great addition to our parks. The city of Osage Beach is growing, and it's exciting to see this partnership come together to create more outdoor opportunities for everyone to enjoy. So we'll look forward to seeing you Thursday, November 14th at 10 a.m. at Osage Beach City Park.
So cool, though. We have got one of the most beautiful places in the country to live here in the Ozarks with all of this beauty. And now you get the trails going through some of that beauty where you can go walk every day or jog every day or, whatever. It's just a great thing. And apparently they've got a lot more of these trails that they've got planned.
Yeah, go check out Magic Dragon Trails website where they show you their mapping, their future plans as they grow, and eventually being connected to the Katy Trail is in the plan. Some really cool stuff. And biking and hiking and outdoors, that's growing, right? That's becoming more and more of interest to young people, and not just young people, retired people.
Yeah,
so
very healthy.
It's great to see the lake continue to grow. Hey, a reminder, it's holiday season. We've heard about, people's benefits, and there's a lot of great things going on locally. We just want to remind you that the Camden County Lions Club is stuffing the Potter's House food pantry for the holidays, a chance to donate and win for every 3 non-perishable food items you bring to Hedges Scott Millard Funeral Homes in Camdenton. You get 1 raffle ticket. Listen, there's no maximum, there's no minimum. For every 3, you can get 1,000 tickets if you bring 3,000 items. But 1 winner is going to win a Thanksgiving meal for a family of 10. And Chris, this isn't just any meal, right?
Oh, I love Thanksgiving. It's like my favorite meal of the year, right? You got turkey, you got stuffing, you got mashed potatoes and gravy. And this is like a dream come true.
And this is now through November 20th, and that winner who gets that meal for 10, that meal's provided by Three Brothers Meat Market, The Butcher Shop, RJ's Cafe, Kenny Bakery, Jan Amos, Mama Steffi's Sweet Stuff, and Ozark Cookie Company. You got to go in, drop some food off. We're headed by Hedges Scott Millard. Big shout out to them as well as the Camden County Lions Club as they stuff the Potter's House food pantry for the holidays, but you better hurry. You only have until November 20th.
And even more important now with the government shutdown and SNAP benefits and all that stuff, give to food pantries if you can.
Yeah, if you can, act, help out.
Yep.
All right, something we're excited about as our industry continues to change. Hey, we don't get our TV, our news, our information, our sports the same way in 2025, and it's going to look a lot different in 2026. You heard about, right, ESPN and the YouTube TV deal, right?
Yeah.
It's big stuff. It's
Big
so
time.
different.
Yep.
Remember the day when they said streaming was for saving on your cable subscription, right? What happens when you have 900 different monthly subscriptions and have to pay $22,000 just to watch the Bills and the Cubs? Well, that's for a lot of people out there, right? Well, luckily for you, Lake TV is still free of charge, and it's now easier than ever to get, as we're excited to announce it's available on the Lake Expo app.
Yeah. And we both have it on our phone. All you got to do is download the app. It's free. And and I mean, just getting the Lake Expo app is a smart idea because you get lake news stories, breaking news, weather, all of that stuff. But now you get Lake TV on the Lake Expo app. You can watch Lake TV on your phone on the Lake Expo app, lakeexpo.com. It's amazing.
Right there.
And just right there in the palm of your hands, just another way to watch Lake TV.
Make sure you go download that at the Apple iTunes Store or on the Google Play Store. But Lake TV now just one click away with the Lake Expo app. And they've been around here in our community 15 years, telling the stories, telling you about boats, real estate, and they are a company, a group of individuals we've grown to trust. Our community has grown to trust, and we're really excited about Lake TV, now available 24/7 on the Lake Expo app.
And whenever you're out on vacation or whatever, Lake Expo's Nathan Bechtel usually sits in for you with me.
We love Nathan. You wouldn't admit that. It's the 2 weeks of the year that I look polished and clean and don't say anything incredibly stupid.
We love the folks over there.
Yeah,
Great.
big shout out to, speaking of our friends at Lake Expo and Lake Expo Real Estate, we have Michael Bean this week on the Community Spotlight Show, who's the pastor at Riverview Baptist. He's talking about the importance of Thanksgiving with you and family traditions. Saw him Sunday actually get to baptize our good friend Annie Falstich.
Congratulations, Annie. That's fantastic.
Saw just a couple months ago, Jesse Falstich was baptized. It's just really cool to get to see that. And Annie, she said, from striving to surrender was her testimony. Incredibly encouraging and inspiring. So congrats to them, and really excited about that. And as we talk about Lake Expo, they were big into our football season. Like, football season has been great for the local teams in regards to, did you see what Camdenton did Friday?
They upset Jeff City, first round of the playoffs on the road. So this week, they're in the district semifinals against the old rivals from Lebanon.
Listen to this, up 28-7 at the half. The Lakers didn't need to score in the second half. Michael Machino, who's had an injury-plagued junior campaign, right?
Yep.
But he's had a big statistical year for a team that started running the football. 352 passing yards.
Wow.
Two rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns. Unbelievable. And then Cole Jennings, 9 catches for 206 yards.
Wow.
194 of those in the first half. And as you said, they're going to be at the 1 seed Lebanon, who, although they're 5-4, they have played an incredibly tough schedule this year. And so that will be Friday. And of course, the Osage Indians, they're going to get a rematch against Hallsville.
Yeah, it's their district semifinals too. And Osage had the number 1 seed in their district, so they had a bye last week. So now they move into the semifinals against Hallsville. That's a game you did earlier this year on Lake TV. I think it was their homecoming game, wasn't it?
Week 6, they beat Hallsville 46-15. It was 11-8. At the half, and at 5 minutes into the third quarter, Camdenton scored 28 points.
Wow.
Hallsville ran 3 offensive plays. They ended up blowing them out. So they'll get a rematch there. And as far as other big football, Mizzou had the bye week. They were off this last weekend, but man, big game Saturday. Number 3, Texas A&M. Can Mizzou beat them?
No. Especially because their quarterback got hurt. So they're on their 3rd string quarterback now.
True freshman, baby.
At Mizzou. And he's going to be a great quarterback, but he's a freshman, and A&M is a powerhouse this year. Mizzou's going to get killed.
A&M's not as good as their record indicates. If you go look at their schedule and how close some of those wins have been, even at home, they barely got by Auburn. I mean, and so I'm going to predict Matt Zollers, the true freshman quarterback. University of Missouri will be my first game in attendance this year. The true freshman quarterback, going to lead the Tigers to a big victory. Nothing to do with the Eli drink. It will have nothing to do with him. But Matt Zollers going to get the job done on Saturday. And then I got to give a reaction, because I don't get to see you guys till Wednesday morning. It's hard for me not to talk about it. But how about those Bills?
How about those Bills? I went back and forth on who I was going to pick to win. I went with the Bills all week, and then at the last second, and that's why the Chiefs lost. It's because I picked them to win. I shouldn't do that.
Josh Allen is 6-1 in the regular season against Patrick Mahomes. However, I've seen this story before. I know this is just intermission, and I'm afraid of what's going to happen in Act 2.
Because the Chiefs always win the playoff matchup.
Yeah, we know that. Of course, the Chiefs have a bye week this week. They'll be at Denver next week. Our scripture of the week comes from Esther 4:14. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows that maybe you've come to your royal position for a time such as this. That can be true for a lot of it. Maybe you're in the position you're in right now for a time such as this. Esther 4:14. And before we go, as we said, don't miss Par Pitts and Shannon Jolly on the weekly Coaches Show with Uncle Chris. Both teams still playing. And this weekend, Veterans Day Parade live on Lake TV at 1 o'clock with Kevin Hilly. And don't miss earlier that day, the Midwest Roofing Veterans Day celebration from 10 to 2 off Cave Drive in Eldon. Of course, you got to look for that great big American flag.
Yep.
Until next week, my friends, thanks for watching this week's Cup of Coffee.